So what exactly is the work of the Wikipedia Foundation?
Well, the dream of Wikipedia is for all of us to imagine a world in which every single person on the planet is given free access to the sum of all human knowledge. So that's what we're working on. The idea is to create a free encyclopedia for everyone. And our mission is inherently global because we're thinking of everyone on the planet. So we're in over 200 different languages. We have projects all over the world. It's an amazing community. It's really a community-driven project.
What would happen if you would get the news that Wikipedia is blocked in a country? For example, Turkey is a country which everybody thinks it's so open-minded for a Muslim country, but pages like YouTube, for example, are blocked. You can only use them with a proxy server. So if somebody would call you from Turkey and say, "Oh no, you're blocked too," would you just fly over and talk to the Prime Minister and say?
I would want to do that. It's not always that easy. They usually don't necessarily return your calls if you've been blocked. But in general, we've taken really a long view. When we were first blocked in China, a lot of the volunteers, particularly in the U.S., said, "Oh, why aren't you screaming and why aren't you writing an editorial for the New York Times and so on?" And I said, well, at least with China, they don't really care what I say in the New York Times. It's not their concern. And so usually, what we try to do is a bit more of quiet diplomacy, a long process of educating people about what we're doing. But it's not easy. And I think, in general, we see in most countries around the world, when there is some kind of a block, it's quite temporary. It comes and it goes, so we don't want to overreact immediately. For one thing, if you overreact immediately, sometimes to save face, they have to dig in their heels, whereas they would have just undone it if you're quiet about it. So we're always trying to reach out to people and solve these problems, but it's complicated.
Was there ever a situation when you were afraid that you might get into trouble because of that?
No, not really. I have postponed a trip to Iran a few times, but that has nothing to do with anything particular about Wikipedia, but just the situation there after the election became quite unstable, and people advised me not to go. I had planned a trip. So I still want to go to Iran. No, not really. I mean, in many cases, I feel very lucky, actually, in my life today because they can't really arrest me unless they really, really want to make a big public incident. The U.S. government would go berserk, and everybody would be angry if they arrested Jimmy Wales, who's giving a speech at a university about knowledge and encyclopedias. So I feel safe in that regard. At least I hope so.